Good morning, good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day this video may find you. Listen, people, I hope that you've been having a blessed day, a blessed week, a blessed month, a blessed year. And thank you so much for returning to my channel. If you are a returning viewer or one of my amazing subscribers, if you are new to the channel, then welcome, welcome. So, listen, people, I like to do my introduction and just dive right in. And today I wanted to do a short video on why is it that older men, are so bitter and angry these days. We know that um, there's a high percentage of divorces, and we understand that most of those divorces were initiated by the wives. The wives filed. That is definitely a reason for older men to be bitter today. The failed marriage, okay? Um, Whether they admit it or not, and I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, that there are not any women out there that are messing up their marriages. I am totally not saying that. But if we be honest with ourselves, we're talking about these decade long marriages, okay? So we're talking about marriages that are from 20, 30, and 40 years and so on. Long decades long marriages. This is what I'm talking about here. So we're talking about the people that the men are mid 40ish, 50, 60, 70, those ranges, okay? And there real it's a lot of bitter men out there. They're in um this age range, and the women that they were married to, the women that were in that's in that age range, they're not as bitter. They're more happier. And my thing is, what I want to discuss is, why is it that the men are so bitter and unhappy and the women are not? And one of the reasons is because the wife got tired. They got broke down. And after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, they just had to get out. I've done a video before on talking about how stressful it is to be in marriages with very toxic people that are very, very disrespectful, that are cheating on you, um, mentally, verbally, and emotionally abusing you, just abusing their power overall. Um, and I discussed on videos about how the reason why the women stayed. We have talked a lot about like previous generations where the women stayed because of financial. Okay. And there seems to be a little thing on there. I think the men are bitter because they believe in their minds that it is all about the financial, that women are actually leaving because they are now financially stable and they don't need the man. But that is not exactly the truth. The real thing is, people, previous generations did not talk about the mental, the verbal, and emotional abuse, the cheating. It was acceptable to in society for a woman to put up with these things. We know the stories of even the pastors getting children by people in the congregation. Um, men, married men having children with next door neighbors and things like that. We know these stories, people. Um, we know the stories of a wife raising the children in previous generations, the children that her husband and his mistress, and some in some cases mistresses plural, had. And it was acceptable. The women back in previous generations that wanted to get out, that thought about getting out, they were ostracized and they were told that you're not being a good wife. You need to stay in this, you know. Um, they were told to go back, that as long as the man was paying the bills, then she should be happy. And so women suffered through the marriages. That's just the brutal honesty, y'all. And listen, I'm not saying 100%, but women suffered through. And men today are very, very upset because women aren't suffering through anymore. Don't get me wrong. We suffered through. We suffered a lot. I was in a 35-year relationship, 28-year marriage. Um, got with the guy when I was 20, right before I was 21 years of age. So, and I'm 56 now. Been divorced about 20 months now. It's going on into the second year come legally come April of 2026. So, it's not that we're not hanging in there. We're hanging in there. Yes, we did. We hung in there. And the men are just bitter and mad because we were supposed to stay until we left this earth, because that's what their grandmothers and great grandmothers did. Um, some of them, that may not have been the case. Some of them, they're looking at the fact that, hey, I'm doing way better than my dad did, my granddad did. I stayed. At least I'm here. And that's the problem, people. Society has taught the man that as long as he is present, that he does come home. At some point, he comes home. That he's paying some bills and he comes home, then that's enough. That the wife should be satisfied and happy because she does have a man that comes home. Y'all, listen, a woman would not have married a man if she didn't want him. And if a woman is happy because her man just comes home, he's not engaging with her. They don't really have a relationship, but he comes home and he pays the bills. She doesn't love him. That woman doesn't love him. Any woman that she is satisfied with a man paying bills and just coming home, and they don't really have a relationship together, they don't have good communication, and she's satisfied with it, she does not love that man. And I'm telling you now, the ones that stayed because they did love the man, these men at some point when they got that divorce, they understood that they had a woman that did love them. Yep. At some point they realized that. That's the thing that they're bitter about as well. So the first thing is that the wife left, got the divorce in the first place, and she didn't stay. Didn't, accept the abuse until the they one of them left this earth. The second thing is, after the divorce, them really understanding that they messed up, that they really had a woman that did love them. And the thing is, people, it wasn't that the woman wasn't showing them that she loved them. She did. But what was going on in his head, the company that he was keeping, his friends, man, listen, your friend that doesn't have a wife or has been divorced multiple times, um, or just sleeping around with Jezebel women. He's not happy about you having a good wife. He wants you out there with him. So the stuff that he's putting in your head, he's putting that stuff in your head so you can be out there with him. Cause see, when you still got your good wife, your good family, you're making him look bad. Um, so they realize after they've gotten a divorce, not right after, but at some point, if they had a woman that was in it because she loved him, it's gonna hit them one day. It hits them one day. Yep, it hits them one day. Their mothers and sisters, cousins, toxic women that they were around were putting things in their heads. They're not even the same kind of woman, meaning that they just don't think the same way that their wives did. And they're taking advice, they took advice from them. And it was just very, very bad advice. Very bad advice. They're mad about that, that they trusted the wrong people, that the wrong people um, helped them in their delusional states, that kept them being a toxic person to the point that they abused their wife so much that she had to file for divorce and leave. Another thing that they're upset about is because toxic men usually don't do a lot of saving. Like, you know, the rich ones does. I'm not talking about on that rich level. Okay. We're not talking about rich people. I'm talking about your regular, everyday, common man and woman, working man and woman situation. At the end of the day, the common man, one day he looks at himself and he sees that all those material things that he was buying to impress other people is either rotten and gone, or he's sitting there with it and it's old and losing value, and he doesn't really have anything of substance. The wife is gone. The relationship with the children, he may have a relationship with them, but the children really knows who he is. They know who their father is, whether they tell the father or not. And the father knows that they know who they are. He knows this. So the older men are upset about that. And let me say this. I saw a video recently where a man was talking about how he just was so tired and he was, he was glad to be divorced so he can be his own self and live for himself. He was tired of being responsible and being everything to everybody. And, I guess, the parents too. I think he brought up something about the mother too. Listen, that's them. They accepted that and wanted to be that person that society was telling them to be. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know this modern day thing is different, but I'm going to say this again. I'm talking about your decades long marriages. We just, we just wanted to love our husbands and be there for them and have a nice, decent family, raise our kids, be just regular. Like, we weren't even looking for all of that. We're, you know, a lot of us is just, we just wanted to live normal. We weren't trying to live like the Joneses and the people on TV. And the man ends up bitter and mad at the woman as if she put that burden on him. She didn't. Society puts that image out there. And Your wife didn't tell you that you can cheat on her and at the end you was going to feel real horrible about being a horrible husband. She didn't tell you that it's okay for you to mentally and verbally abuse her. Yeah, I understand that us putting up with it made the man think that it was okay. But the thing is, if his heart was right, he wouldn't have been doing the abuse in the first place. So the woman wouldn't have had to be in her mind dealing with, you know, I'm supposed to fight through this to stay in this marriage. Women were programmed to accept the abuse. And listen, people, at the end of the day, we have got to understand that it was a setup. It was a setup, this whole thing, to break down families, to keep the man and woman in competition with each other, destroying the family. In today's society, you can't find too many people at some point, at least when they get about in their 30s, that haven't had a second or third marriage. Children, I'd say at least by fourth, fifth grade, not having a step parent. Y'all, there's a reason for this. But the woman did not ask the man to do these things. She was programmed, he was programmed too. But the men are bitter and angry and mad, and they're blaming somebody. That's what's going on here, y'all. If you see it out here, a lot of us women, we're taking on our responsibility in how we failed. You can hear it in how we talk. If you look at a lot of my videos, I can't get into it all here because we're talking about another subject. We see where the doing too much, the taking on the burdens was a mistake. But the men aren't accepting their responsibility, and the children aren't either. I'm talking about the adult children now, because the young children, they're still finding their way. And the thing is, people, the most important thing when we're talking about these things, like about relationships and everything, is looking in the mirror. And the man doesn't have to be bitter with other people. He doesn't even have to be bitter about his situation. He's got to look in that mirror and make amends. He's going to have to surrender to God and ask God for forgiveness, ask his ex-wife for forgiveness, and his children. Now, if another human being doesn't want to accept your forgiveness, that's on them. That's between them and God. And a person forgiving you does not mean that forgiveness means that, we're getting back together, because, I don't know how bad the situations were. So I'm not talking about for that reason. A lot of you already have started other marriages. So I'm sorry. But I'm just saying the men are bitter because of the performing. It was a whole, their whole life was a performance. They were performing and making a lot of bad decisions along the way. Yep. We're not being an honest and good hearted person to the people that they owed that to, which is their wife and kids. So, anyways, people, yeah, I wanted to do this video. I felt like it's definitely needed. Um, But the older man, he's the real reason that he's so bitter is because he's upset about all the performing that he did. And in the end, the performance got him nowhere. He lost everything. Anyways, people, I love you. I love you. I love you. And listen, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.